Hi, was just checking the volume here. I'm Avi for those of you who don't know me. I'm a certified raw food educator and holistic health coach. And I usually work with moms who are stressed and overworked, and I help them get rid of that through nutrition and without deprivation. So I decided to change the title to this live from 6 reasons why you won't let yourself live the life you deserve to 6 ways to fully embracing the life you deserve, because I didn't want you to feel as if I was telling you what to do, because I'm never telling you what to do on these lives. I'm letting you make that decision for yourself, because everyone's not going to get what I'm saying, and I'm not going to get what everyone else is saying. So there's people meant for certain people. If you're my people, then great. If you're not, then great. There's someone else that's there for you to get feedback from, or advice from, or motivation from. That's awesome. So without further ado, let's dig into the 6 ways. If you do jump on the live, definitely feel free to leave a comment. Let me know where you're coming from, because a lot of you are from all over and I'd love to know. So make sure you're dropping that in the comments below. Never feel shy to write anything. Just type it in. I'll go read it. I'll respond. If by any chance you catch the replay, definitely write replay in the comment section, and I will also respond back to you, just letting me know that you watched it. If you want my blueprint to help you further implement these ways with actionable steps, definitely write down I deserve, and I will be more than happy to send that blueprint to you personally. Okay, so the first way is mindset. Okay, so I'll just share my story in terms of mindset. So when I'm referring to mindset, it's going to take you and me and everyone opening up your mind and saying that maybe there are things I need to change. Maybe there are things that need to stay the same. Maybe there are things that need improvement in my life. So the first step is having a mindset and being open to various things. And a lot of people, including myself, because I've experienced this too, we go through life and then we develop these limiting beliefs, okay, of ourselves. I know there were a lot of limiting beliefs imposed on me as a child, even into adulthood, all these limitations. So when I say limiting beliefs, I'm referring to limitations that have been put on you by other people or yourself. So if I listened to certain people, for instance, I was not considered like the pretty one as a child. I had glasses, I was a little chubby. And so my limiting belief as a child was would have been, I had a good mom that instilled confidence. So I didn't really think I was ugly. But if I allowed that, my limiting belief would have been, oh, I'm ugly. So then I would have gone through life being ugly or something, feeling like I was ugly or something like that. But like I said, I had a good mom who instilled confidence, and I also had some good relatives. So I didn't let that get me down. But another mindset I had was a limiting belief of mine in terms of nutrition is I can never eat healthy. And this is what I've said for years, because I would go to buffets and I would look at the salad section and all of the plants and all of this stuff, and I didn't want to eat that. That wasn't appetizing to me. Okay, it wasn't appetizing. So for years that held me back. I hated salad, absolutely hated vegetables, hated salads. I hated olives. I hated leafy greens. When I would go to the buffet, I would get chicken nuggets and french fries and whatever else, mashed potatoes with butter. I would just fill my plate. I was like definitely had a horrible food addiction, especially when I went to buffets. So if I let this mindset that I can't eat healthy, because I swore that was my truth. See, limiting beliefs end up becoming your truth when you think you can't. So I'll say that again. Limiting beliefs become your truth when you think you can't. Okay. And everyone has limiting beliefs. So I thought, I can never eat like that. I can never eat healthy. And what ended up happening was I started to learn, and this brings me to step number 2, which is organization and grocery store shopping and things like that. It took knowledge surrounding that. So I find that a lot of people have limiting beliefs and they think that this is their truth when they don't really have the knowledge behind it. So see, back then I had no knowledge of nutrition. Therefore, I told myself I can't eat that way. Do you see where I'm going with this? So because I told myself that, I didn't do it. What it did take was for me actually listening to a holistic health expert who was a doctor at the time. This was 9 years ago, and was actually telling me how, food has the ability to reverse disease and how food makes you feel. I started to realize that food was connected to certain illnesses. So it got me opening up to this. So now I wasn't looking at salad as, oh, this thing that is supposed to be healthy that everyone says is healthy. It didn't mean anything to me. Okay. You could tell me salad was healthy and okay, great. I'm still not eating it. Why? Because nothing was penetrating me, nothing was hitting me. Nothing was saying to me, this is why I should eat this way. Once I started relating it to my illness, because I had a history of endometriosis, once I started to realize that, this is going to help me personally, that's when it started to hit. So that's when that was the first step. I was open to it now. So I went from, eating a diet of I love fried fish and calamari and everything fried, French fries. And I would get 2 big things of French fries. I was just a glutton. I loved food, And, but what happened was I started to open up my mind. And instead of wanting that, I started wanting foods that were actually going to help me become healthy. So that's my first one, my first way. And at any point, drop me a comment below if you want my blueprint, because there's actionable steps for each one. Okay. So you can implement them and start to fully embrace the life you deserve. Okay. So step 2 would be the organization component. Okay. Organization. So I would say that I was pretty organized for what I was doing. For instance, I went to school for music ed. Prior to that, I was in high school, so I had to be organized. But when I say organization, I mean in terms of your mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual states. So becoming organized in terms of how you want to live your life, or when you meal prep, when you work out, certain things, when you need to put in self-care, your meetings, all of that stuff. So like I said, I was pretty organized, but I realized as becoming an entrepreneur and someone who wanted to switch over to a holistic health lifestyle, my organization had to be a little different. I had to organize lifestyle things versus organizing maybe work things. So I incorporate the two. So I would say organization is definitely important. If you want to live a holistic health lifestyle, I highly recommend organization. Now, I used to look at the organization where you write stuff down and it has to be by a time and it has to be like very detailed. I didn't like doing that before. I didn't, because to me, I felt restricted. So what I started doing was actually organizing my time based upon, it was almost as if I observed myself, what I naturally like doing. This is why I emphasize do what you love. I started to observe when my spirit wanted to do certain things. For instance, there's people there are people who go to bed around, I don't know, 10, 11, and 12 a.m. And then they wake up at 6, 7, or 8, or one of those. My body actually likes, and sometimes I don't do this, but my body actually likes to go to sleep at 7:30 and get up at 2 a.m. And I like to work at 2 a.m. I just do. I like to work at 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. For everybody, that's not the same. So I organized my life around what my spirit innately wants to do. So when I say organization, I don't necessarily mean, oh, pencil this in, pencil that in, pencil that in here. I'm saying write down all the stuff you need to do and then let it go around your spirit. Now, if you function a little bit differently, I highly do recommend writing everything that you need to do down and being organized so you can implement stuff. A lot of people become stressed, they become overworked, they feel unbalanced or imbalanced and stressed because there's no firm foundation. Now, when you know what you're doing, when you know why you're doing it, so these are tips 1 and 2. You know when, you know why, you know what. When you know all the details as to why you need to implement something, and the why would be in this case, or in my case, because I will become stressed if nothing is organized, if I don't feel organized. I always have to have a basic foundation. So in order to implement and stay consistent, having some sort of routine is beneficial, is definitely beneficial. You won't forget it. You'll be more likely to implement it. You'll free up more of your time because everything is not up here, it's brain dumped. And that's the most beneficial thing for me that I found. I found that I would literally get a headache if everything was up here, and I would feel stuck. I'm like, oh, this could have been done had I just written it down. So a lot of times the organization is good into pushing you, because sometimes you stay stagnant. Maybe you've wanted to do something. Maybe you've wanted to lose those 50 pounds for so long. Maybe you've wanted to go to the gym for so long. Maybe you wanted to go here. Maybe you wanted to do this dream that you've had for a long time, only to realize once you write it down that it could have been done. So it gets you past that stagnation point, that stuck point, and it gets you to implementing everything. Okay. And my next point is definitely attachments and the lack of self-love. So I've shared my story of me becoming addicted to, I guess, opioids, heavy drugs, because I was on prescription meds for so long for endometriosis. I became addicted to the hydrocodone, oxycodone, and ibuprofen. And prior to that, in high school, I used to smoke whatever, whether that was blacks or weed or cigarettes. And when I started to smoke cigarettes, once I got off of it, I really started craving, coffee. And then when I couldn't have the coffee anymore because it made me shaky, then it turned into a food addiction. So it's like I needed something to replace that. So I started to become attached to food. I started to become very, very attached to the food that I was eating, and it became something that I had to have. Like I always had to have certain foods, and I didn't count, calories. I don't recommend counting them now because I eat nutrient, dense foods, but I wasn't focused on what was in the food. And that's where the self-love piece comes in, because there's a lot of people that talk about self-love. And I used to think I loved myself. But once I came into the knowledge about nutrition and certain ingredients, I realized, I know these ingredients are bad, but I'm still wanting to eat them. And I gave my story about how I wanted to not be alive anymore because of the situations that I was dealing with. So I did eat certain foods to contribute to that. And this is what I'm saying to you today. From my personal experience, when I turned to those foods, it was because I wasn't feeling that great about myself. I was in a low state. I was in a depressive state. I was in a state, and not a good mental state, an unhealthy mental state. And what a lot of people don't realize is that when you're eating these foods, you're literally committing a slow suicide, and it's poison. You know, these foods are certain foods, these processed foods, foods high in sugar, these genetically modified foods, these foods with artificial coloring and flavoring, and all of these ingredients in there that the body cannot digest. And this goes back to number one, being open to this information that I'm sharing with you, that's backed by science and many various articles and scholarly people in this field. So that's another way. So how can you remedy, you know, going back to number one, the remedy to that is to just be open-minded. The number two, the remedy to organization, is to start at least brain dumping all your thoughts on paper, and then maybe turn it into a things to do list. And number three, turning that attachment, like I said, drop me a line below, because you're actually going to get these action steps in the blueprint, full on action steps for you. But you can turn that attachment and lack of self-love into self-love. Start by eating more nutrient dense foods, and start by affirming who you are and saying who you are or who you want to be in the present tense. Okay. And there's another action step for step three. I like holding it up with my rings on it. This hand feels so bare. Okay. So number four is movement. Okay. I remember hating exercise, even though I've done it for years, but I started to hate it. Why? Because I had no direction. I was like, do I really have to run on the fucking treadmill? I hated the treadmill, but that's what I would see other people do. And I'm like, oh, this must be the way to lose weight, I guess. I hated it. I'd be in the gym for a fucking hour on the treadmill, and I loathed going. Once I found like heavy lifting and weights and barbells and TRX and all of that, I started to love the gym. So a lot of times when people see exercise or movement, they think they have to be extravagant with it. And you don't. At least moving at least 30 minutes a day. 30 minutes a day, whether that's on a hike or whether that's, I don't know, doing frog pumps, you know, whatever, planking, do some form of movement, because you're getting your lymphatic system to move, to flush out all the toxic waste, boost your immune system. You're protecting yourself from metabolic diseases, from cardiovascular diseases, from everything. Okay? So definitely definitely moving your body. That's number four. Okay. And a way you can start to do that is just by walking. Just walk. And then I have, like I said, drop me a line below if you want that blueprint for this, for the 6 ways to fully embrace the life you deserve, because I have action steps for you to do number 4, which was exercise. So once I found exercises that I actually liked, I started to do it more often. Okay. And all you need is 3 days a week to maybe do some intense movement, and then the rest you start walking. Just do something. So number 5 is not doing what you love. Okay. So I'll give my example. I've always, from high school, wanted to run my own business. I always wanted to run my own business. I never wanted to go to college. I thought I had to go to college. And at the time, I thought I had to have health insurance. So I went to college. Did I want to go? No, I didn't. I wanted to own my own business. That's what I wanted to do, but I wasn't able to do it. Why? Because I had the I can't mindset. So I that was my limiting belief. I said, I can't do what I love because what I love maybe won't bring in funds. Maybe it wouldn't be accepted by society. And this is what I realized um, with a lot of people. Someone's phone's ringing. That's what I realized with a lot of people is that they feel that they can't. Some people so badly want to do their dream life, but it's almost like it becomes a dream after retirement. It becomes, if you had the corporate mindset that I used to have, I used to think that doing what you loved was a treat. And this is what I want people to realize: doing what you love is your purpose. Like, you actually have that right to do what you want to do. Okay, even if you're at a job you don't like right now, there is a way out. It may take steps, but there is a way out of that. And I also have, like I said, actionable steps in the blueprint. So at any point, drop me a comment below saying I deserve, and you'll get the blueprint and I'll personally message it to you. So the fifth step was not doing what you love because you feel as if you can't. Okay, there's an actionable step in that blueprint. Now, the last one is not feeling worthy. So I can definitely relate to not feeling worthy of something. I was one of those, special children, not the favorite. Always, my energy was always a provoking energy to people. It's something that you can't pinpoint. Now I know it's because I'm an earth angel and I'm intuitive and empathic and like all this stuff. Whatever you want to call it. If you want to call it a white witch who does good things, you can call it that. I don't know what people call this. I just know that, okay, vate, they just said, which means fortune teller. Hey, I have to say what I hear, and that's what I just heard, vate. Thank you. So that's what I am. When I say they, I mean my spirit team. If you don't believe that, then I'm probably not the one for you to be listening to. So number 6 is not feeling worthy. So like I said, I used to feel extreme guilt whenever I would get an accomplishment, or if I would excel with certain things, because I felt like, oh, I wasn't supposed to. I'm not the favorite. I'm not, I was not the favorite anywhere, whether it was family, whether it was friends, whether it was teachers, whether it was like school, like nowhere. I didn't fit in anywhere. So I didn't feel worthy till I realized later on that I'm here for a purpose, a divine purpose. And, it really took some inner knowing and inner thought processes and going within, being able to talk about this with certain people. And this is why I do what I do as a mentor and a coach, because I can relate to not feeling worthy and not feeling as if you were deserving, even though you're super talented, even though you have all of this good coming from you. But when you start to see yourself from other people's lenses, it starts to play with your head and you start to take that on. And that's what I help people to do, is not take people's judgment and place it on themselves. And what I really want to say is you are enough as you are. You don't need to adjust yourself to appease others. So there again, drop me a line below saying I deserve, and I will give you that blueprint that gives you an actionable step into taking that I don't feel worthy mindset to I deserve the best. I am the best. Again, affirming. So I'll take you back through the top 6. It's mindset, organization, attachments, and self-love, not moving, exercise. That's the exercise piece. Not doing what you love, and not feeling worthy. Okay? Those are the 6. So again, thanks for watching this. Drop me a comment below if you want that guide. I'm going to go eat me some raw vegan donut holes now that are packed with nutrients, and they're nutrient dense. And yep, you can still have donuts. I eat them every single day. I actually had apple pie yesterday. So have a wonderful day. I really hope these tips helped you. And if I could help you in any way, definitely let me know.